For the latest on the situation in Israel, there is a security cabinet meeting underway, chaired by Benjamin Netanyahu. Earlier, the Israeli Prime Minister spoke to Fox News, confirming that his intention is to fully take over and occupy, at least temporarily, Gaza. Helen Clark, the former United Nations Development Programme Administrator and Prime Minister of New Zealand, of course, and joins us now. Helen, good morning.
Good morning.
We're still waiting on the outcome of that meeting, but based on what we have heard from Netanyahu over in America, what do you make of this?
So a reoccupation of all of Gaza is clearly a devastating development, if that's what the cabinet in Israel plans to do. Now, there are, of course, dissenting voices. Israel is losing soldiers every day as well. That's grieving families. Then there's the shocking position of the hostages, the images that we saw of the young men who are still captive in the last week, very, very distressing, as are the images of people literally starving to death in Gaza. This conflict needs to end, Ryan. It doesn't need to be continued by an occupation of Gaza. And I'm just completely aghast at the statement from the Israeli PM that we're going to occupy, but just a little while, and then we'll hand over to someone. Look, how many times have we been around this circle? And things go on and on and on. This is outrageous. And the only people with the power to do something about it are the United States of America, who seem to be focused on Ukraine today. But right now, people on all sides are dying in Gaza at scale. And what Mr. Netanyahu is pushing for can only make things worse.
How do you go, if you putting yourself in Israel's shoes for a second, how do you just go back to life as normal, knowing that there are still Hamas fighters across the border who could very well return and do another October 7?
That's why you need to negotiate a ceasefire. And that's what the world wants Israel to do. Actually, Mr. Trump wants Israel to do it. Mr. Trump has acknowledged that there are starving children, that, quote, you can't fake the photos, that things are catastrophic. But it takes two to tango. And Mr. Netanyahu has undermined the prospect of a Palestinian state for the last couple of decades. And here we go again. So someone has to call time on this. And it is the United States. And all those friends of the United States, like Canada, like the UK, like France, who are steadily marching now towards recognition of a Palestinian state and saying this has to end, are those who will have the greatest leverage in Washington, D.C. This has to be resolved at a high geopolitical level, and the solution is not the way Israel is going. That further delays any settlement.
Why aren't we joining? You mentioned the UK and France, and they're calling for, the ceasefire before they recognise a Palestinian state, potentially in September at a UN meeting. Why haven't we joined them? Are we worried about Trump blowback?
Look, it's a mystery to me, Ryan, because in the past, New Zealand has been, very careful to hold a balanced position on Israel-Palestinian issues. The world has moved very much towards recognition, including the major countries that we just referred to. So I'm not sure why New Zealand's holding out. In the Elders Group, which I'm a member of, we months ago said that the recognition of Palestine would be a transformational step forward. And we're looking now like we as a country don't want to take that transformational step at a time when the prospect of a Palestinian state living in peace side by side with Israel, because they have to coexist in peace and share services like electricity, water, employment, etc. That prospect slips away as we watch the ongoing way in which Israel is handling the conflict. So, yeah, I think we are being left behind, and we need to catch up.
Yeah. Helen, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much for your analysis. Helen Clark, former UNDP Administrator and Prime Minister. It is 29 minutes after 7. And we're just hearing, staying in Gaza for a moment, that the families of the hostages who are being held by Hamas are now chaining themselves outside the Security Cabinet meeting in Tel Aviv. This is the one that's been chaired by Netanyahu. So the families are making a stand. And if you look at the polling in Gaza right now, about 75%, in Israel, 75% of Israelis want a ceasefire. They want the war to end on the proviso that those hostages are released. So we're back to square one, basically. One side saying release the hostages, the other side saying once we do that, then it'll all be over. Neither, still, at this point, budging.